Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It is 5:07, and if you hear that song, you know it's Friday. That's the cure for what ails you, isn't it? Thanks for joining us here on the 22nd day of August, and what a night it was in Arlington. Winsome Sears makes a dramatic appearance, trying to advocate for two genders, making sure that the policies are protective of young girls, and Democrats, well, they just couldn't stop showing their old racist ways. What a moment!
They're just going back to their roots.
Patrice, it was honestly, you can take Jim Crow out of the people, but you can't take the people out of Jim Crow, or something like that. Old white angry Democrat woman with a sign that is objectively so offensive that it could very well turn the campaign.
I hope so.
We're going to get into all those details coming up a little bit later. Don't you worry about that. It's 6:05. Oh, and you'll also hear what Winsome Sears had to say at the meeting, which was good stuff, too. 6:05, Sean Kennedy, Virginians for Safer Communities. 7:05, Jen McDougall, a Virginia mom who spoke at that meeting last night. 8:05, Jane Hampton Cook, a presidential historian, friend of the show. She had a run-in with the Smithsonian that she wants to talk about. And then at 8:35, Judge Janine, your U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, to give everyone here in our listening audience in the greater Washington area an update on the president's new initiative to try to make this city safer. So we're looking forward to hearing from the U.S. attorney to the district. That's all coming up. That's Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. And happy anniversary, Larry.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And happy birthday to Heather. That was yesterday, though. You know, we're moving on.
Yeah, happy birthday, Heather.
Well, you know, for our anniversary, I wanted to take Meredith out to a really, really nice restaurant. Like, you know, you got to do that. It's like you got to keep the romance going. And it was a big one.
Of course.
It was the 10-year anniversary, Patrice.
That's a big one.
So we went, of course, obviously, to Cracker Barrel. And why is that funny?
If it has some sentimental value, I can understand that.
It does have sentimental value, but of course I'm kidding. We did not go to Cracker Barrel last night, but an update on the Cracker Barrel logo design has become a big thing. And first of all, it's funny. When I saw the Cracker Barrel logo redesign, I jokingly tweeted on the X platform. I said, "Don't tell me the person who's responsible for this is a white woman in her 40s and she wears glasses." And I was right. I was joking. I was making a joke, and my goodness, it's like there's a certain type, right? There's a certain type.
Yes, who are CEOs. Yes.
And they ruined Bud Light, and now they're walking down this path with Cracker Barrel. The stock price plummeted yesterday, just 24 hours after this new logo was released. And I didn't know this. I heard these stories like a few years ago. And then it kind of popped up again. Did you know, Patrice Onwuka, as you're looking at the original, you know, lifelong, decades-old Cracker Barrel logo, that logo, among certain activists in the African-American community, thought this was a racist logo? Have you heard this before? That. You did.
So actually, in the black community, Cracker Barrel is considered to be a racist place, and only in Republican areas.
Really?
Yeah.
They did that didn't they used to say Denny's was racist too?
Well, yes, but I think also because of the controversy over, was it Reginald? There was some. I'd have to look back at it, but
all right.
Yeah, they've said that of Denny's too.
They used to say Denny's would only put black people in the back of the restaurant, and like I remember that whole thing a bit barely. It was in the 90s. Simpler time. And apparently the logo, so I didn't know the whole restaurant was racist because it's in Republican neighborhoods or something. That's funny. It comes from the South.
Well,
it's not our fault. They tend to be
located, I guess, in Republican areas. But they've also been considered to be racist. I don't know why.
Well,
I would think good food is good food, especially if they're good portions.
Thank you. Biscuits and gravy. That transcends everything. Chicken fried steak. Oh, I love their chicken fried steak.
That sounds like Southern soul food to me.
if you look at the K in the Cracker Barrel original logo, the top of the K sort of whips around and turns into like an oval, and we're told that that's supposed to emulate a bullwhip that the master would have over the slave. I'm not kidding. You have to be demented to like.
I mean, it's hard to even make it out. The way the image is, I don't even see a bullwhip. I see that whip. Okay.
Because you're a normal person. Anyway, but the logo design is just the tip of the iceberg. We've now gotten a reveal of the new design of the interior of the restaurants. And listen, I understand a brand wanting to, update themselves a little bit and maybe spruce things up, or maybe because you do go into a Cracker Barrel. Part of the charm of it is you feel like you're walking into an era of yesteryear, right? It should. I'm fine with them thinking that they should freshen it up a bit and make it a little, more contemporary. But good Lord, what they've done to it. It looks like a coffee shop in an airport in Europe. It looks like our producer Heather Hunter said it looks like Joanna Gaines has sort of like, vomited all over the store because it's got that, that Magnolia branding look to it. And it doesn't look like anything distinctive. Actually, it looks like a Denny's now that I mentioned Denny's. They've ruined it, haven't they? They've ruined Cracker Barrel.
They have found a way to get rid of the charm and the simplicity, the Southern hospitality feeling that you get. On X, I saw a company that one of the builders that got the $700 million contract to rebrand and refresh the exteriors and the interiors, and I saw the exterior picture, and it's full of, I mean, I said it looks like either a feed store or you could say it looks like any of these like fast food chains that have gotten rid of all of their uniqueness, and it's just a bunch of windows, a big square box, and then you could slap on whatever sign goes with the next restaurant. I mean, it looks like Chipotle.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of these places. Panda Express, except without all of the signs. It's just blah.
Nothing distinctive about it. Nothing that makes it unique. Nothing at all. And that's the whole point of it's like, and by the way, it wasn't broke. Why fix it? I mean, every single time I have been to a Cracker Barrel, I have had to wait for a table. Maybe it's because you go Sunday after church. I don't know. Not even. I mean, literally every single time I've gone, even when it's a weekday and it's not right after church. And that's actually, by the way, part of the fun too. You go to a Cracker Barrel, you have to wait for your table. So what do? You walk through the store in front and you see all the very unique little tchotchke things that you would never buy, but maybe because you're waiting and that's kind of fun and clever. Let's buy that. And they always made no matter where you are in the country, that front store had a bunch of stuff from the local area there. So you'd have the local sports teams represented and the local college teams represented. And it's just a great – and they've ruined it. They ruined it. And it appears that it's because of wokeism. Benny Johnson, our buddy podcaster Benny Johnson, actually interviewed a longtime employee of Cracker Barrel. And we'll tell you a little bit of the inside story here because the original family that founded – Cracker Barrel in 1969, a Christian family who wanted to found this restaurant on Southern hospitality and tradition. Since they passed away, that's when everything started to shift, and it appears to be all about DEI. We'll give you some details on that coming up in a moment. And yes, we're going to get to all of the mayhem in Arlington yesterday, Trump patrolling the streets of Washington with the cops last night and delivering pizza, the big win he got from the appeals court, and Tish James is not a happy woman. We got all that coming up in a moment. First, though, it's 5:15. WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the 5, Steve Hirschhorn is in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
What could not be destroyed from the outside was dismantled from within. Longtime employees left. Regulars stopped coming and standards fell. I felt like I was part of something truly American, full of nostalgia and tradition. Now all of that's being torn down and replaced with just another bland, soulless corporate chain. So says Eric Russell, who spent a decade working at Cracker Barrel at every job in the restaurant. He met his wife there, and he tells the inside story of what he saw. This restaurant, after the owners passed away, was got new leadership. Current CEO Julie Fels Massino took over in 23 and immediately began to push to modernize and rebrand the company. Small changes began. The classic brown menus were replaced, uniforms relaxed, dress codes done away with to pander to the blue hair employees. And he doesn't mean old women with blue hair. He means the, liberal left girls who dye their hair blue. Alcohol was introduced, breaking with decades of staying dry to preserve a family-first atmosphere set up by the original Christian owners. Service and management standards slowly degraded as corporate push for expansion into new markets. Food quality changed along with the drive for new modern customers. The logo and store redesign is simply the last step in total brand destruction by corporate vandals who seem to despise the Cracker Barrel core culture. And that is what happens. We've got a story a little later that we're going to share with you about Disney is lamenting that they don't have any big franchises now that appeal to boys, right? It's like, we got to do something because
I wonder why.
Well, they owned Star Wars,
yes,
Marvel superheroes, and Indiana Jones. And now they're looking around saying, we need a franchise that appeals to boys. They had 3 of the best franchises that appeal to boys. But the people who take them over actually hate the original concepts. They here, hey, do you like Marvel superheroes? No, I hate Marvel superheroes. Great. We want you to be in charge of Marvel superheroes. And so it's the same thing. This woman who took over Cracker Barrel, I bet never ate at Cracker Barrel in her life. She didn't care about Cracker Barrel. And so now she's going to...
Yeah, Larry, let me give you some background on this new CEO, Julie Massino. She's been there at the helm of Cracker Barrel since July of 2023. And not too long after is when they launched this new initiative she started on the path of the rebrand. She has been at Taco Bell for, I would say, probably that's about 5 years.
There you go.
Both Taco Bell International as well as Taco Bell North America. She was the president of Taco Bell. She was president and chief executive of Sprinkles Cupcakes, and she's been at Starbucks. So she's one of those people who moves from executive role to executive role, does these whole big rebrands. I mean, I think we've all seen Taco Bell rebrands where it's like, do they actually sell tacos in there? And then they drain whatever brand it has of its authenticity to make it look like, some soulless place that you just go in and get a scoop of whatever you want and then you walk back out, rather than being true to the authenticity of what the brand originally had. She unfortunately represents the fact that DEI is not fully dead yet, folks. And I wrote about it actually for Newsmax some time ago, where I said the biggest beneficiaries of all of the DEI programming are white liberal women. They are the ones who have scammed this idea of diversity to rise in the ranks and implement their liberal agendas in culture, in business, wherever they go. Now you have this lady at Cracker Barrel, and in one day the stock plummeted 12%. We'll see where the stock ends by the end of the trading day.
All right, and listen, again, I understand a brand wanting to say, hey, we need to breathe new life into this. Let's update it. Let's spruce it up. But you don't do what they did. You don't toss everything out. You don't ruin it all. So I've got a suggestion for them. This is a free suggestion. Now, if they want to hire me as their new CEO,
they gotta pay you.
We got to talk. I'm going to give them the first idea for free. All right, you immediately go back to the old logo, except. You do, and I understand the desire to update it and contemporize it, spruce it up, make it a little more attractive. So let's go back to the original logo, but the old dude who's sitting on the chair there, replace him with Sydney Sweeney. There you go. You're welcome. You watch that stock price soar.
It would be interesting to have a young woman in Daisy Dukes or, nice jeans.
You're talking. Let's go.
Sitting next to the Cracker Barrel barrel.
Brainstorming session right here. This is where great ideas fly. Come on, keep going, Patrice.
I mean, okay, remember the failure of IHOB? Remember International House of Burgers? They really quickly turned that around and said, oh, it was just a joke. We know it wasn't a joke. It was a new CEO trying to lay out a new vision for the company. Well, this lady here, Julie Massino, if she wants to have a job in any other food empire, she better turn this around really quickly, end the rebrand, and say, you know what, we're going to stay true to our roots. We're not going to do all this crazy redesigns. We're going to keep things just as simple as possible, and maybe work on efficiency. Maybe if they want to work on something, work on keeping the prices low and keeping the value high, so that they can meet the expectations of their shareholders.
Yeah, Patrice, I love you. God bless you. You're overthinking it. Okay,
Oh,
logo,
really?
Sydney Sweeney, Daisy Dukes.
Okay, that was my contribution, the Daisy Dukes.
Motto of the restaurant, Sydney Sweeney has great biscuits. It's 5:23.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:37 now on O'Connor and Company. Hello. Thanks for joining us on this Friday morning in your nation's capital. Coming up later in the show at 6:05, Sean Kennedy, Virginians for Safer Communities. 7:05, Jen McDougall, a mom and activist in Arlington. She was out there at the school board meeting with Winsome Sears and all the Democrat racists. 8:05, Jane Hampton Cook, presidential historian, has an amazing story about the Smithsonian and how woke it's gotten. And at 8:35, your U.S. Attorney for the District, Judge Janine, will join us. It's Larry O'Connor with Patrice Onwuka.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it.
Yeah, we did. And it was a happy Thursday yesterday for Donald Trump as a appeals court in New York threw out the $483 million
Oh, my goodness.
civil fraud fine that was handed down by that Looney Tunes Judge Engeron in New York. Mm-hmm. You'll remember this was the case where they accused him of bank fraud, of mortgage fraud. The banks didn't complain. This was literally a victimless crime, if it was a crime at all. They claimed that he overvalued his real estate. And I remember seeing, developer after developer after investor on CNBC saying, if this is a crime, then everyone in Manhattan should be going to jail. This is ridiculous. This was Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, who ran on the mandate, elect me and I'll prosecute Donald Trump. You talk about wielding the law as a political weapon to punish somebody just because you don't like them. And she won. There's New York for you. And she did what she said she was going to do. You'll remember this judge. This case was, because of the way New York law is, there was no jury of his peers. This was the judge was the sole decider on this. He decided Trump's guilt, and he decided what the fine would be. And they came up with this $500 million fine. And by the way, he's had to put this money into an escrow account and had to pay interest on it, on the bond and everything. So he's already out of pocket on all this stuff. Well, the appeals court threw that penalty out and said it was a violation of Trump's Eighth Amendment rights. A huge, huge victory for Donald Trump yesterday, and a defeat for Tish James.
Absolutely. Now, we'll say that the judges kept in place the ban on President Trump and his eldest sons, Don Jr. and Eric, from running a company in New York for several years. But that's okay. I mean, I think President Trump is busy right now for the next few years. And by the time he's done with his current job, he may just say, you know what, it's time for me to retire. But that said, I think Letitia James, the shame that should be searing her face right now, and the embarrassment that should be keeping her head, down, ducked under her desk, rather than the smug look she would give to the cameras in the courtroom every day. I mean, we knew this day was going to come where the judgment would be overturned because of how ridiculous it was, and the president should feel fully vindicated. But I think there needs to be more shame on Letitia James for how she comported herself, for how she acted during the trial, and for the fact that she even brought these charges to begin with. But this is another domino, Larry. Secretary, another one of these zealous public servants who built their name and career and national profile on trying to take down Trump. And they had a little mini victory that was squashed at the end of the day by the law, which they weaponized. So, I mean, President Trump, he deserves to take a victory lap, and she should be in shame right now. She should resign, but she's not going to do that.
Well, she might be facing more trouble than that because Fox News contributor Hugh Hewitt, who's also a constitutional law professor and a practicing attorney for decades, worked in the Reagan administration. He was on Bret Baier last night, and he raised an important issue that I hope the Trump team is looking at. Alina Habba, are you listening?
It's a huge thing, Brett. And the key phrase is the one you read, violates the Eighth Amendment. That opens up the door, and I hope the president walks through it, to a 42 U.S.C. 1983 action against the Attorney General and Judge Engoron, who was sort of a Looney Tunes character through this whole thing. Of all the lawfare waged against Donald Trump, this proceeding in New York was the most ridiculous. No victims, no injuries, nothing, and a $500 million fine for that reason. The court was embarrassed into withdrawing it. Even if they're Democrats, they had to do it. And I hope the president goes back for the millions of dollars the interest on his bond cost him. This is the first of many wins he will enjoy because the New York judicial system is so badly broken.
Yeah, so they can go back at this judge because this has been thrown out. It was all Letitia James and the judge working together to levy this fine that even the New York State Appeals Court found to be outrageous. So they can now file a suit against them. He had to post $170 million bond and all the interest and penalties on that he's had to accrue this entire time. And you know, as everybody says, it's outrageous that they're going after Adam Schiff because he claimed his primary residence was in Maryland and in California at the same time. That's petty. That's tit for tat. No. You guys, I'm sorry. You set the table. You decided how the law can be used to punish your political enemies. And the only way this stops is for people like Adam Schiff and Letitia James to get a taste of their own medicine.
They need a taste of their own medicine. You know, when you talk about Looney Tunes characters, though, I still think this case, the financial penalty was massive. But just when you compare it to the Georgia election case and the characters, the clown car characters down
Fannie
there.
Willis.
Exactly. And her boyfriend. You know, I just, Democrats should be ashamed of themselves because they really thought that they could weaponize every lever of government that they had from the most local all the way up to the White House against one man. And he still prevailed. And they tried to kill him, and he still prevailed. And, you know, it only frankly could have been President Donald Trump who could have withstood all of this lawfare because very few people could afford to fight it other than maybe him and Elon Musk. But few people probably would have had the emotional fortitude either.
Letitia James, Fannie Willis, and her boyfriend. Yeah, quite a clown car. And they're all getting their just desserts. 544.
Later this morning on the Chris Plant Show, it's funny how the news media loved it when Joe Biden put 25,000 National Guard troops in Washington. 9 a.m. on WMAL.
Patrice Onwuka is with us this morning. I'm Larry O'Connor, and we've got some numbers on immigration over the past several years that are, well, absolutely mind-boggling. Bear with me. It's a lot of zeros. But according to Pew Research, Patrice, the United States hit a record for illegal immigration in the year 2023. 6 states, California, Texas, Florida, New York, New Jersey, and Illinois, were home to more than half of all of the illegal immigrants that year. The total number, 14 million in the year 2023. Wasn't that the same year that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Alejandro Mayorkas told us that the border was secure and that there was no crisis?
Oh, that was. This is a 19% increase from the year before, according to Pew. And not surprisingly, the reason they were obviously able to be granted protection from deportation, some were seeking asylum, you know, some were, we saw, it's remarkable. Some have gotten protection without any sort of deportation worries. So, we have a lot of people here who are living here illegally. And to put this in context, Larry, on average, America welcomes about 1 million, close to 1 million people here legally, like my family over 30 years ago, people who go through the process, not who dip under the fence at the southern border. But what the Biden administration did over the 4 years that they were in office was to massively expand the head count in particular states, in part because, folks want to live in areas where they're going to be around other immigrants, and in part because, they got shipped there, or there were sanctuary policies that welcomed those individuals and gave them access to public resources. So, it's going to be hard to unwind all of this damage, but I think President Trump and his administration are really stepping up enforcement efforts and going after those who are here illegally committing crimes. But I think they're also going to be turning to those who have overstayed their visas, for example, and individuals who are here who should not be here. So, I mean, listen, I'm a legal naturalized citizen. I don't have an issue with this. My family spent a lot of time and money to come here through the legal means, and there's nothing wrong with expecting other people to do so as well.
Well, yeah, and listen, those 6 states, California, Texas, Florida, it's understandable how California, Texas, and Florida has a huge number of illegal immigrants because they're, border states and they're places of entry for a lot of people. New York, New Jersey, and Illinois, you said that they were shipped there. Yeah, they were shipped there on purpose. They were shipped there to help with the census and redistricting. That's why. They were sent there so that they could increase the number of Democrats in Congress because those states were losing population. Yeah. They were all moving down to Texas and Florida. There's one other item here, though, and yes, of course, we make great pains to distinguish between illegal immigrants and legal immigrants, as well we should. That said, a nation has every right and every responsibility, frankly, to regulate legal immigration as well. There's no mandate that a nation must have unlimited legal immigration that everyone is allowed in, and if any given year 20 million, right? And
it's their choice. Yes.
Countries can do this. They can say, okay, we let's take a break. We've had a lot of immigration over the last decade. We're going to ramp it down now, and we're going to accept fewer people in because you have to balance these things for your economy, for your culture, for just the order of your nation. President Trump made an announcement yesterday that I found to be absolutely eye-popping. They're going to review the U.S. visa holders. These are the legal people in this country who have legal work visas or student visas. And they're going to review all of the current visa holders to see if any of them have committed an offense that makes them eligible for deportation. That's not eye-popping. That's what a government should do. In fact, most of us probably assumed that was going on all the time. If you come here legally, you get a green card, you've got a visa, that's fine. But if you break the rules and you commit an offense that makes you subject for deportation, them's the breaks. You're going to get deported. So the Trump administration is going to begin doing that, which they should do. Here's what's eye-popping. 55 million. I don't think anybody would have ever guessed, Patrice, that we have 55 million visa holders in this country. It's massive.
That's like 20%
That's surprising
of the country. To me. That's surprising to me, but I mean, these are people who could have overstayed a visa, maybe visiting family. They could be overstayed student visas.
These are legal visa holders.
Well, these could be people who are here, I guess the administration is going to check to see if they've overstayed their visas. Like they could have a visa, but is it still should they still be here for different reasons? But I mean, there's so many reasons why we give out lots of visas, and I would just encourage folks who are visa holders, hey, why not put a ring on it? Well, the United States has actually kind of put a ring on it by giving you a visa. Why not make it a permanent commitment and become a citizen? It kind of begs that question. But this is going to be really interesting because you've got a lot of folks here who feel like they're safe and secure. And that may not be the case, particularly if you've committed a crime or if I think it's interesting. I think it's going to be interesting.
I hear you. Yes, and absolutely. They should be reviewed. But I think we should also review the volume issue here. It is astounding to me that nearly 16% of our population are people here on visas. That is a huge number. I find it astounding. I would have never guessed that we have 55 million legal visa holders in this country.
Surprising.
It's a giant number, and it needs evaluation. That's 16% of our population. It's 5:54.